Hello and welcome to a new forest talk. So today I'm here at the Sacred Stone. That's there. Boop, there it is. And so I'm in a different part of the forest this time than the bog that I was previously. I don't know, like I kind of felt like just talking about things that were on my mind, really. Maybe I'm gonna get a bit closer. So now I'm here a bit closer to the mic again, and the webcam. So yeah. So I kind of felt like talking about something that was on my mind. And I think really what really was on my mind was just how man with a dog. Yeah, but now getting back to what I wanted to say. Yeah, kind of like what I wanted to say was just that I kind of have been feeling that for a very long time with what is going on, there has been so much focus on division and focus on all kinds of things like that, and I kind of feel like, I don't know, maybe we have like lost sight of the important things that are really going on. Especially now with like the whole Ukraine thing too, and like all kinds of other stuff going on with like the coof, the virus and stuff, and the jab and all kinds of stuff like that. It's like there's so many things dividing us, and we're just like disassociating from life, and to a big degree, like, I get it why. Like things really are fucked up in that sense, like how they are. And like, yeah, you wouldn't want to really be in that world. But the thing is that it's taken for granted in a way. Like, this is just how the world is. This is there's just a certain societal myth that we believe in as a society, and certain things that are seen as true in that sense of that are seen as, there's a certain societal myth that we believe in, and certain things within that are seen as true, and other things are seen as like taboo, and this is seen as that, like sacred, profane, all of that stuff. Like how like it's all well, everything is divided up, like the world is divided up in these types of things. But the thing is that it's not set in stone. Not at all. Like that this is how it needs to be, that this is how we run society. Like, are there things that obviously just are a certain way, biologically speaking, or like like I don't know, like plants produce oxygen. They take up CO2, for instance. Like that's a biological fact. There's like no, like we cannot pretend otherwise. So there are like are there limits to things like that, like for all kinds of things. Yeah, and that's kind of like the whole I feel Capricorn nature of things. There are certain limits in this world. There's not like a limitless option that you can just pretend to be anything, and that's just gonna happen. And it's just like, oh yeah, and that's just now how it is. You know, you cannot. Yeah, I don't know. Like you could make an argument, like like yeah, but we can like manipulate the DNA of the trees and all kinds of things, and then make it how we want it to be. But the thing is that would you want to? Would you really want to? Because a really big thing is that by messing with things like that, we don't really know what kind of repercussions it has in the future, and how it ripples through, not just in this little instance here, but it like ripples throughout the entire ecosystem. It's like changing changing something, like suddenly that like some plant becomes invasive or something, or like overgrows everything because you've been tampering with it, or like whatever the fuck else happened, and that influences all kinds of other things. And in that sense, like with such things, like I don't know, I don't think that we are wise enough to know in that whole entire web of life how tinkering with something influences everything else. We're just not. We're really not intelligent enough to figure that all out and know that all, especially as one person. I mean, just think about like that the entire body of human knowledge is like split up in all kinds of disciplines, and like it is impossible for a single human to know all of that. It's just impossible. It just doesn't work. Because there's just too much time that it takes to learn all of that. And the thing is, we kind of like need to admit, like, well, there's certain blind spots that we all have, that I have too. It's like I know certain things, but I'm not all knowing, and there's plenty of blind spots, and that's kind of where we're talking to other people who have their own like understanding and view on things becomes very important, because it can help you like understand things from a different perspective. But I don't know like where I was going with this. No. Where was I going with this? My train of thought. I have to think back now. So I was talking about the division, about and all of those things. I don't know, I lost my train of thought. But I don't know, I guess like the most important thing with this is just like, I guess something more along the lines of like, that we do not know everything, and that's okay, but we have to admit it to ourselves, like that we are not all knowing, and that and it's impossible to know everything. And yeah, in that sense also just that I guess it was about the whole division stuff and like what's going on, where I was going to. But yeah, coming back to that, I think another layer with that is really just that, yeah, like with the myth. So, there's a certain myth that we live in and stuff like that. And yeah, that the world doesn't need to be that way. One can renegotiate on a grander scale, like how certain things work. But that it's something on the grand scale cannot be enforced, and it is something to do with not enforcing things, or like being like, these people are evil and we need to do something against these people and all kinds of stuff like that. No, and it comes down to how we behave within our life. And it has to do with like how we relate to the world at large. So people, animals, plants, and the entirety of the world, like how we relate to all of that. And the thing is that it's very important to change things on that level, because there are no grand scheme things possible in the sense of grand scale change. I can be as a singular person change the world and enforce these views on all of these idiotic people or something like along those lines. It's like, nah, it won't work. It's about changing things within your own life and let that ripple through. To treat people in a proper way, in a kind manner, and like not the whole like shitting on each other kind of shit, or like or the whole these people are evil kind of stuff. But I guess like what I also kind of realized is that there's kind of another layer necessary to understand with regards to what is going on, like psychologically speaking. And yeah, a lot of it has to do with trauma, and also kind of like how the system that we're currently living in is built. But I think it's like a combination of like all of the old trauma that was there, and then and with a lot of other stuff going on too. Like a combination of all kinds of factors that created this type of like, well, how some people would call militarized society. But psychologically speaking, what kind of have been happening is that there's a lot of like maiden archetype going around, like everywhere, like men, women, in that sense, when it comes to like society at large, like just blindly following certain things without like thinking things through, like, well, everyone is doing it, so it must be what we should be doing. Like, no. We need to think for ourselves and look at our needs and who we are. And that's kind of where like, well, the hero archetype comes in, and there is like this whole stuff going on now, really in the collective unconscious, really, Like it started with like Pepe the Frog, with Keck and all that stuff, and like the princess and who lost her golden ball into the pond, and like the frog needs to like go into the shadow to retrieve it. And yeah, kind of that's where fly. That's kind of where it is at this stage. I feel it's like getting out of that pond and integrating that golden ball within society again, that knowledge that was lost. And I think that with regards to applying it, I think because in the story it's like the princess, you give it to the princess is the anima, so it's the relating function, and you relay that back to society by how you relate to society, by integrating that knowledge within yourself, in your own being, and acting that out within the world. So then you can change society one bit at a time, and like how more people then will end up seeing like, this is working way better than like this other way of like relating and interacting within the world. They change if it works, and if it works well, then they might actually change. Because the thing is, like, the whole what I was trying to say in my former Force talk really also was really something along the lines of that, trying to convince someone from like a position and getting angry and slinging shit at them is not really going to, or like that's not going to work at all. But even when you talk to someone, you know, if they're not really willing to listen and you're not slinging shit to each other, so it's not gonna change anything either. And I think that in that sense, when it comes to debating and all kinds of stuff, like, that's very good, like if you can do that in a proper manner with each other. But I think what is better is to really integrate that into your being, of that this is who I am, this is how I act into the world, and I've embodied who I am, and that knowledge that I have recovered. And then you can see that it's either working or not by embodying it into your own life first, before wanting to implement anything anywhere and try to force anything on anyone. It's like in your own life first, you see how, if it works, if what you have discovered does this work, does it, or does it lead nowhere? You know, and the thing is, it's very simple relating to people, to the grander ecosystem too. And it's about like how you treat others, and that's what you see as other. And like, yeah, I don't know, and that's kind of why then with regards to the whole trauma stuff and the safe spaces that I was talking in the previous videos, I kind of wanted to bring that up because I kind of feel like that it's very important that there's that space for the trauma healing, because the way we relate to the world can get very it's like looking through the world, or like looking at the world through some like tainted windows. There's like something, a certain perspective of how you see things. And the thing is, like, it's not the person's fault in that sense, but there's like, you know, but you can get out of that type of perspective and the behavioral patterns that are there, and it really has to do with their perspective and behavioral patterns that are detrimental to the person, so like that are making the person believe like negative things about themselves, or about like well, sometimes about others too. Like I had the belief like, well, everyone just must hate me because, well, it's like how I perceive the world, but I acted in a way that kind of made it happen. It's like that I pushed people away. It's like, well, and then I rationalized it with like, well, they must all hate me because, well, they're all going away all the time. But I kind of was doing it myself. But you know, that's but that's kind of an important thing with that. Just that you have that space to look at that, and also like what I said about the triggers, because the triggers can show can show actually different things. It can be something like, well, you're triggered because that's actually past trauma that you have repressed, and then that comes up. So that's something you should like need a proper environment for to clear, because it's you carry that type of inner energy and emotions and all those things within your not just within your mind, but within your body as well. And you keep carrying that around because emotions don't go anywhere. They just get stuck. It's like they get like stuck in some form of chrysalis, and they're just waiting. They're just waiting, and they're just stewing in there and till it's released. So in that sense, like you have stuff like that, but then at the same time you have also like people that trigger the shit out of you because, well, that's a part of you that you have repressed. Like me and Uberboy, with like with Uberboy with his general thing, that like the general was something that I had repressed. The capability of setting boundaries, the capability of building proper structure. Because I was seeing everything as tyrannical. It's like, all structure is tyrannical. We just need to tear it all down. But it's like, no, that's not true. That's not true. It's not all tyrannical. It's not all shadow Capricorn. And the thing is that you can create that balance between the nurturing Cancer and creating the proper Capricorn structure around that, the proper boundaries. To create the proper environment to be nurturing to yourself, but also to others, so you can help each other and support each other. And I think that like doing that for each other is an important thing in these times, to be supportive of each other, and to in that sense help each other find that like embodied self, to really like go past society and certain tyrannical structures that do exist, and figure out who you are, and just figure that all out. And it's not something like someone saying like, well, this is who you are, and this is how everything is going to happen. No, that's not how it is either. It's like a finding out for yourself, and the best way to do that is to interact with others too. It's like interacting within like your ego with the self, but also to others, because they can show a lot about you as well that you can learn. But what is important is the proper environment for that. Yeah, but that's like what I wanted to I don't like mention more about, because I kind of really felt like I just wanted to like ramble on a bit about some stuff that were on my mind. But like, yeah, and then the whole myth thing, like, it's up to all of us, like the way we want to relate to the world, and like what myth in that sense speaks to us. Because in that sense, like the current world really, does it have a myth? Yeah, but no, not really. There's a myth, but it's like it's not a healthy one, and well, psychologically healthy, that is. And yeah, I don't know. There's more to this world than what this myth tells. And in that sense, science, doesn't say anything regarding myth. No. I mean, does it have a myth? Probably. There's an underlying structure to it all, but it doesn't really tend to, on its own, really tell people how to be, or like how to relate to the world in a different manner than like just, well, this is an object and this is these things. It's like, because yeah, there's like real utility to it, to science, but there's other things that it doesn't tell. And that's up to us as individual and well, in the largest sense as a community, to figure out and to create that for ourselves, to have like a proper structure for that. But the only way that I can see like how anything like that can ever happen is people talking to each other. Yeah, that's really what I'm feeling with that. Talking to each other, relating to each other, and then just figuring things out together. Yeah. But with the current things all going on in the world and all of that stuff, it's like just one thing I could say is just well, it's just a suggestion really, and that's breathwork, meditation, all kinds of practices to bring one back to the present moment. That's really what I would suggest to look at, and well, and really our own individual needs. Like, what are they? What are those needs? So yeah, what are they? And yeah, you can learn a lot from looking to other people in some sense. It's like, well, what is your idealized partner and stuff like that, because a lot of the times a lot of the traits we're looking for and what we wish someone had like that would be our romantic partner or something, would be actually, or like that those are traits that are inherent, or like they're in us too, you know. They're hidden inside of us. And it's important to like integrate those two within ourselves, and they can also reveal maybe like certain needs that we have as well. It's like, and maybe we can work on fulfilling those needs ourselves, certain needs. Like, maybe like not all needs, like oh, I wish I would have someone that would, I don't know, hug me, and like, yeah, okay, you could hug yourself, but it's not the same thing, you know. Like, if you would have someone that actually would hug you, for instance, to just use an example. But like, yeah, just look at that, I would say. But yeah, I think I just want to finish this one with a bit more drumming. This one is for one of the foxlings of the den, for Oxflow. Okay. Bye bye, everyone.